And welcome back. Now we find ourselves at Mo Sheldon's incredible flying location just outside of Maricopa's little airport here, and the paramotoring activity is about to kick off. So we're going to get to see the Moment paramotor plus the Grasshopper Trike in action. And Mo, you're also kind of doing some instruction this evening as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to tag along. I'm going to stay out of the way.
We're good. Yeah, so this student, he's flown a few times.
Yeah.
And he's, I'm just kind of at the end, just giving him some confidence on the radio.
Yeah, right on.
And helping him with takeoffs. His landings are good.
You said that this individual has also done hot air balloon base jumping, things like that?
And he builds hot air balloons. He's actually a pioneer in some of the hot air balloon stuff. So he brought his hot air balloon to the circus, one of them, that is on a tether.
Yeah.
And base jumpers could like get on this thing, and it went up to 600 feet on a tether,
man.
And then brought it back down. He did that. It was the coolest
I'll have to
thing.
get with him on that, because I've always wanted to jump out of a hot air balloon with my skydiving equipment.
Right.
The name of this airport again?
This is Ak-Chin Regional.
Ak-Chin Regional. You said it's a Native American reservation.
Yes.
Native American reservation owned airport.
Right.
But we're not on their ground here,
Well, it's kind of an interesting deal. I've been operating this airport when it was privately owned by a group.
Yeah.
And they went bankrupt, and then the Ak-Chin Indians bought the airport.
What?
So yeah, they bought the airport, and it was still part of Pinal County.
Yeah.
And then with several land swaps, this became reservation. But it's a weird deal, because I've been here longer than the Indians.
Wow, what a turn of events. Is that some sort of income for the reservation or something like that? Are there businesses being operated, or is this primarily general aviation with some flight school mixed into it?
Right,
or?
It's a small little private airport, and there's a number of businesses that cater to aviation.
Yeah.
There was an FBO here. He unfortunately passed away.
Okay.
There's another hang gliding school. You've seen the plane that did the hang glider
flying.
So
we should go sign up for the hang gliding school, you know.
Then the other cool thing about this airport is they sell fuel here. It's the cheapest gas in, I think, in Arizona, the aviation fuel, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people come here from all over to buy the fuel.
They'll just come here, top off. No skydiving operation out here.
None. And there's a lot of,
Why would they if they've got Eloy so close?
Right. So my understanding, Eloy is fantastic. They have like state-of-the-art facilities, but I hear it's like a factory.
It's a puppy mill of skydiving.
Right.
So to transition it back to paramotoring, I don't personally like the puppy mill schools where you've got 20 plus students. Now, one of the arguments is that a paramotor school like that has advantages, one of them being that there's so many students out there. If you happen to be failing at something, you've got other students that you can bounce your ideas off of. But I am on the side that the smaller the classes are, the more one-on-one experience that you can have, the more flights that you'll potentially get. I don't know the numbers.
So the program I have, I guarantee 20 flights.
Oh, wow.
Supervised flights.
Yeah, wow.
And by the 20th flight, it's like, nice takeoff. So what I see is the flights, I divide them into 3 groups. The first few are just like, I am right there on the radio every step of the way, the first 3 or 4. Then I sort of back off and sort of build those skills.
Right.
And then the last group of flights are, let's build more skills. Like spot landing, potentially even a powered landing, hone in on some skills like low level flight.
Oh, wow.
We'll even do some oscillations control.
This seems like a nice area to do low level flight.
Yeah.
Out here in deserty terrain, if you were to need to land out, you don't have to be looking for, you know, a gap in the trees to barely make your way back in.
And you can see the size of this field is huge.
Yeah, this is monstrous.
You could have 50 people out here and it's still plenty of room.
My belief is that the ideal sort of place to do first flights would be a dry lake bed.
Right. The second one is low altitude, under 1,500 feet.
Right here, what's our elevation?
It's about 1,200.
1,200, so still totally manageable.
Right.
Okay, you were at Salton Sea this year?
I did not go.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason I didn't go, I'm planning too much for the Arizona Flying Circus.
Yeah, I heard that's a pretty big event. Can you tell me what the Arizona Flying Circus is?
So we're on our 22nd year doing it.
Oh, so you just got started?
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's a great event. I like to go to fly-ins, and it's something else. And the event has transitioned from being a paramotor only event when it first started to being sort of really like
a circus.
It's circus
of different aviation stuff.
Yeah, I mean the newest thing the last 3 or 4 years we've attracted a lot of skydivers and base jumpers. We have hot air balloons and lots of fixed wing, And obviously a lot of paramotors there.
Why did you decide to call it a circus? Aren't you condescending to all the clowns that fly paramotors?
Not really. So you know, my buddy and I who worked on this, we love Monty Python.
Okay. You know, I'd never seen that movie until...
Which one?
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Right.
I'd spent like a month in the hospital, and I get home, and of course I'm high as shit on all the drugs that they gave me, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch Monty Python.
There's a flesh wound.
The circus has been going on for 22 years, and now you've got base jump. Did somebody actually end up jumping off of a hot air balloon?
The guy who's flying tonight, my student, builds them, and he pioneered this balloon that's on a tether.
Builds hot air balloons.
It's on a tether.
Yeah.
And it's the coolest thing because it doesn't have a burner on it.
Yeah.
He gets this wand out of his truck and fills it from his truck.
What the hell?
Exactly. And then there's this swing seat on the thing, and the person kind of sits in the swing seat, not strapped in or anything. And they release that thing. It goes up to 600 feet. The base jumper jumps off. They bring it back down to the truck and repeat.
That doesn't make you nervous seeing base jumpers?
Everything about aviation is just manage risk.
Yeah. People should be able to fly at night if they're in an area where it would be safe. And you'll have individuals who will say things like they shouldn't do it because they can hurt themselves. I don't think that should be somebody else's choice.
Correct.
I fully believe that even if they shouldn't, they should be afforded the opportunity so long as nobody else gets hurt. And of course, educate.
You know, one of the beautiful things about Part 103, which is what we fly in, it's designed so that you don't harm others. You want to hurt yourself? No problem.
And that's how it should be.
Right. And so I tried to model the flying circus around that.
Right.
That ideal of let people have the responsibility and freedom to pursue what they want to do.
Right.
But still have, I hate using this word, but still have bounds. You need to have some structure.
Yeah.
It's a fine line. Like if you have too much structure,
you lose the fun.
You lose the fun, and it becomes tyrannical.
Yeah.
If you don't have enough, then it's...
People could get seriously hurt or die at a higher rate or something like that.
What really worked well for the circus was to divide up times. So for example, we could do all the paramotor and balloon and ultralight activities early in the morning and late in the evening.
Yeah.
And then shut off the runway and the shooting range. Once the paramotors stop, then you can open all that other stuff up.
So you can blow shit up when the flying's not good.
Right, because we have a shooting range on site, but the paramotors were just flying all around the shooting range. As soon as the paramotor activity is done, shooting range opens.
Those two mix really well.
We found they don't. We were doing a trap shooting competition, and like paramotors were flying right over it. It's like
trap
not
shooting.
Working.
Dick Cheney.
Boom. Yeah, whoops.
Fatalities are a part of this war.
Yeah, and I witnessed one.
2 years ago, 3 years ago?
6 months ago.
That was Salton Sea.
8 months ago. No, it was here, 4 miles that way.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Friend of mine, Alan.
Yeah. Well, first of all, sorry to hear that. I know
it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun to witness.
How did it affect things for this year's Arizona Flying Circus? Was there any sort of...
No, nothing. What we think happened was it was just pilot error.
Which is the case most of the time. I mean, almost all of the time.
And how do you work around that? And it's not just one error, it's like a sequence of errors.
Right.
That all cascade on themselves.
For sure.
And how do you plan around that? You can't.
What were the circumstances like that led to his crash?
We don't fully know.
Yeah.
We can only surmise. He had bought a more active wing. It's McPara, Colorado. Have you flown the Colorado?
I did once. Yeah.
It's an active, very fun wing, but it's not a beginner wing. It's a full-on, solid intermediate, maybe even into the advanced wing. He had been practicing some aerobatic maneuvers with it. Didn't have a lot of time on it. It sounds like he just did a maneuver that scared him, and then
locked into something.
We just locked in and panicked.
Yeah.
And didn't get out of it.
That is scary. I mean, it's coming out of it, you can become very overwhelmed very quickly with something like that.
Especially on a very active wing.
Here at your school, do you require all students to learn on ENA gliders, beginner gliders?
I strongly recommend it.
What do you think is the transition point for somebody to go from a beginner glider to something like the Colorado?
You know, I've seen this multiple times, and it happens in all of aviation. It's one of those things where you get complacent.
Yeah.
You get the skills, you're an intermediate pilot, and I think that happened with him. So he started doing these aerobatic maneuvers lower to the ground. He wasn't high. And I think it overwhelmed him, and he panicked and froze up. That was my feeling of watching it, because I saw him from 300 feet away, and I didn't see any input to fix it.
As we were pulling in, we saw the wheels on that, and Lee pointed out, he goes, I bet the landings on that are nice and soft.
They are. I designed the Trike part of that, and that's a fresh breeze motor on a grasshopper Trike.
Before we continue, I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for being part of the Paramotor podcast. It means so much to me to have this amazing community of paramotor enthusiasts tuning in. Creating the podcast takes a lot of time, energy, and yes, money. And I've poured everything that I've got into it because I'm passionate about bringing you quality content. But to keep this show going and growing, I need your support. So if you love the podcast, I'd really appreciate if you'd consider supporting us on Patreon. Even if it's just $3 a month, it helps keep the wheels turning. If you're not in a position to contribute financially, no worries at all. You can still sign up for free. You'll get access to exclusive behind the scenes content and be able to submit questions for upcoming guests and more. Sign up by clicking the link in the description, or you can click the icon in this top right corner now. And if you could take just one more second to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications, it would mean a lot to me. Also, leave a comment letting us know where you're flying and how long you've been in the air. It helps the podcast grow and keeps the community strong. Thank you for supporting the show, and now let's get back to it.
Yeah, we don't really know what happened to Alan. I've witnessed 4 now.
4 fatalities.
And every one, it's like, I can feel I got some PTSD from it.
Absolutely.
Like I see people doing maneuvers and I don't even want to look anymore. It's odd because it's like, I don't want to even see it.
Well, you know exactly what to do. Like, you know how to control the glider.
Right.
The idea of standing there and watching somebody go down is so scarring.
It is helpless. Yeah, there's nothing I can do. I'm like,
right.
You can do it. You could do it. You could do it. And like, oh man, I witnessed the impact and I'm like, that wasn't survivable. I made an evasive maneuver to get down to him. Yeah. I was there in like 15 seconds.
Oh my, yeah.
And we got out and I'm like, he was like gone.
Of all the fatalities, the 4 fatalities that you've seen, how many do you think were of no responsibility of the pilot? Like, how many were
None.
Equipment error?
They were all pilot error. First one happened right here.
Oh, no kidding.
100 feet from us.
Oh.
Guy took off. He did a really hard turn and then flew. It looked like he flew right into his own wake. And it collapsed about 1/3 of the wing and then went into a big swing and just full throttle and just went right into the ground.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How tragic. Like, I can't imagine in my mind how a collapse would result from going through your own wake.
He took off, let's say this way, and then flew right into the wake like this.
Okay.
So that wake hit the front of the wing.
Oh, okay.
Right at the right spot and just collapsed it. Because it was, the wake was coming across this way, it slammed into the front of the wing and just...
Oh my gosh.
And it was calm air. Like we had just finished flying.
Yeah.
It was an evening flight. And it was a really hard turn. I mean, it was like...
I mean, too hard to be so close to the ground.
Right.
Okay. So avoidable if you were to do the same exact thing and give yourself some altitude, as would be the case for almost any incident.
And had he been like 20 feet higher, he would have been able to pendulum out of it.
You have that group of individuals, and myself included, like I've totally flown that way, where you're just ripping so close to the ground, but you give yourself no room for error.
Right.
Your mindset of saying like you want to allow people to do that, I totally respect. Because you tell me not to do something.
Right, you're gonna do it anyway.
That's
right. Right. How do you herd cats and you're like,
It's not like it's not known to the pilot. It's like the pilot has to be aware. However, the problem is that even when you're aware of it, you find yourself in that moment,
right?
And you're just Things happen so quickly. You're in the zone, but one thing goes wrong, and it's it. That's it.
Right. The other one was Cliffstone, and that happened at the Circus. I did not witness it, but I saw videos of what happened.
And was that the one that was a few years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
And that looked like it was just he was flying a motor with a lot of torque.
Okay.
And he was turning against the torque.
I remember, yes,
and and he basically went this way and the wing went this way and he kind of ended up going backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
And at full throttle backwards at 50 feet isn't gonna do well.
Riser twist and going against the torque.
Yeah, he turned against the torque, which took him into crowds and over people, and the other way wouldn't have. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense.
Are there any rules that you've established about flying over a congested area at the Circus?
Yes, so we tell people don't fly over the congested areas.
So the rules, as I personally believe, is I think that you believe that the rules should be limited to protect others.
Right,
really,
just don't harm others.
Whatever
and that includes even other pilots in the air. So like, you know, if you're gonna do a wing bump, get permission from the pilot.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. If you're going to involve somebody else, make sure they're on board with that, Clint.
Correct. The third one was here at the field as well. A pilot called Dustin Agpar.
Oh, that was here.
That was right here.
Oh my gosh, I know his family.
Right.
He's from Vermont.
Right. Kind of a famous motorcycle guy.
Yeah.
He loves speed. He had been flying maybe a year.
Yeah,
flew a lot.
It's a gasoline and fire scenario.
Right.
That drive for pushing it really hard.
He was pushing it really hard. close to the ground.
As I've heard, it was low wing overs, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a low winger. I witnessed that one, and I'm like, oh, he impacted so hard.
And a young guy as well.
Right.
There's something about young individuals with a full life ahead of them,
right,
that when they pass away from something so fun, it's particularly sad because of all the things that they've obviously missed out on. And especially because of the possibility of having young children is different than having children who are grown. I mean, my own situation, I've got 4 children, one who is just born months old, and, it could have all been left behind. Obviously, that my situation is a huge wake-up call to how I'll fly when I get back to it. What kind of a pilot are you? What's your flying style?
So I used to be much more aggressive. I used to compete, and I don't do that anymore.
What do you mean compete?
I would do slaloms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got into that, and I don't do that anymore. It's not worth busting myself up over.
Sure.
You're taking such risk close to the ground, and any little thing can go wrong, and I'll be broken. My favorite type of flying is short flights like you.
Yeah,
20,
exactly.
30 minutes.
We discussed earlier that we both are on the same page when it comes to short flights. Well, I know that there's a lot of people out there who like doing these long distance flight, cross-country style stuff.
And my favorite is like right at the end of the day when you can see that the sun going down, the lights coming on, and like,
do you see a green flash when the sun sets? Have you heard of that?
I've never seen that.
But you've heard of it, right?
No.
Let me know in the comments if that's a real thing.
Oh, I know who that is. That is Wayne Mitchler from Alberta. And I think he's not doing a tandem. Not much wind.
Yeah, no.
Well, let me show you something really cool.
Yeah. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, click that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to see more cool paramotor content.
I've got something really cool in my van. We have a Moment frame and a small trike. And we're gonna put the Moment on the trike. And the cool thing about this trike is it's super, super compact.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this here, but that's the whole trike here. It takes like 1 minute to assemble. I'm a big advocate of being able to travel.
Running forward, nice inflation, adds power. He's leaned back a little bit. Oh, keeps those legs moving, and up and away he goes. A+, good job.
Good takeoff.
Wow. Oh, whoa. Whoa, we didn't even see that one coming in.
Yeah, that's Wayne Mitchler from Alberta. This is a trike made in Poland with an add-on that I built for the Moment.
Okay.
And the add-on is it's so cool. You can take one.
All right.
You're gonna find the hole for it. There's a button on the back here like this.
Okay.
And you're gonna push this button and lock the wheel in place.
Ta-da!
And now it's locked. Next, we're gonna take the main frame here. There we go. Next, we're gonna take our axles.
Okay, I'll get the other side.
That is locked.
Wow.
Let's go ahead and take these off.
Okay.
There you go.
The moment of truth.
So this is a foot launch machine, and we just literally drop it right into place on that track.
Yeah.
There it is. All right, and that one over here is there. It is now seated. I bring these up to place. It is locked in now. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna do the same with the harness here.
Okay.
It's ready to fly.
So all that had to be done is the swing arms come and lock into this arm, and it keeps them in place. You mind if I take it up real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
My wife would kill me.
Right. I gotta put the pegs on. Done.
Yeah. So will you be flying this evening?
I will be. Yeah, I can get ready to go.
Now, Lee here decided that he wanted to go ahead and take a stab at flying a trike. He's never flown a trike before, so you're watching his very first attempt at ever flying a trike. He gave it the good old college effort though, so hell, don't take any lessons from it, just consider it entertainment value.
Fully committed. I know. Ho-ho! Hot diggity! Very. An incredible takeoff.
Were you scared? Spooky. Because it wants to turn towards you. Badass.